Welcome to another Guerrilla Sports Off Court, a post-game live reaction show. I am your host for tonight, Liv Moods, and we are about to dive into all things Game 6. The Nuggets facing elimination forced Game 7. They will be on the road to fight to make it to the Western Conference Finals. And this post-game show is driven by Landmark Lincoln.
Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another post-game live reaction show. This one is driven by Landmark Lincoln. Shout out to our friends over at Landmark. I am Liv Moods, your host for this evening. And the Nuggets, with elimination on the line, forced a Game 7. They will be on the road taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder one last time in hopes of playing in the Western Conference Finals against none other than the Minnesota Timberwolves, their arch nemesis. This could be the beginning of a Denver Nuggets revenge tour that we are getting to witness. I think so many things you can take from this game. Good basketball by the Nuggets, and we're going to get into all of that, of course. We will be featuring some of your guys' comments, so make sure you are live in the chat. Hello, I already see a ton of comments. Oh my gosh. Welcome, you guys, and we will also be getting post-game presser footage from our friend Jason, aka Jet Life, over live at Ball Arena right now. He's going to be delivering us some post-game presser footage, so we'll be hearing from Coach. We'll be hearing from some of the players. But hello, everybody. Oh, Kendrick Perkins on the TV above me here, looking like he wants to cry himself to sleep. Imagine that. I just find it very interesting because I, of course, am very biased, right? This is my team. This is my favorite team. It's been my favorite team for some time. I have typically, well, that's actually not true. I'm also one of their toughest critics, but I have a lot of positive things to say about this Nuggets team. And it's just so interesting to me, the tone of voice in which these national media heads speak about the Denver Nuggets. With 50 seconds left, the Thunder down by 8. These commentators had a tone in their voice like there's still a chance. This team is so good. There's no way they lose this game. Well, they did. They lost this game. And I think the many times I've spoken about the playoff experience mattering for Denver and how important that's going to be later in the series, there's not a time that it will matter more than in Game 7, where their MVP, SGA, has only played in one Game 7 game, and that was back in the bubble in 2020. One Game 7 he's appeared in. And honest to goodness, playoff experience probably gets to shine through the very most in a Game 7 scenario where it is do or die. And one of the things I also want to bring up is, let's be real. OKC hasn't really had to feel nervous at all this year. They swept in the first round. They were sitting at the top of the Western Conference all season long. They really haven't had to play scared basketball yet. And in a Game 7, do or die, elimination is on the line. There's some scared basketball being played by some of these players. There are nerves involved. And I just don't think we've seen OKC really have to face that just yet. And good on them, right? They've escaped that feeling, and that's a testament to how talented this team is. But that's where you really see that playoff experience mattering a lot. Who chokes and who thrives under pressure. And I get it. OKC's back at home. And of course, the commentators made sure we knew they will shoot better than this at home. Of course, yes. All right. Whatever you got to tell yourself, at the end of the day, this was a win by the Denver Nuggets, a team win by the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray was added to the injury report today, and we weren't sure if he was going to play because of illness. To be honest with you, I didn't let myself fall for that report too much because I know how Jamal Murray, he's just the type of guy that's going to play regardless, unless he is literally over the toilet and cannot move. I really felt like there was a good chance that this was going to be a flu game for Jamal, and what do you know it? Jamal Murray tonight went on the floor plus 28, the impact he had tonight in this flu game. And I think this is one of those really important games where you have to remember it's not always about the points, right? And I know I was really hard on Michael Porter Jr. for his lack of offense, but I think for good reason. When you've seen him be as inconsistent as he's been, and you know how crucial and valuable he is, my point was constantly, if his injury is affecting his offense that much, he probably shouldn't be playing. More importantly, though, what I said, and you guys can go back and watch it, what I said more than once was there's probably a guy on this bench that could give you more than what Michael Porter Jr. is giving you. Michael Porter Jr. has been exceptionally streaky. He's been exceptionally inconsistent. However, tonight he gave you 10, right? 10, 4, and 0. He was 2 of 5 from the three-point line, MPJ, 1 steal, 1 block, only 1 turnover. You liked what you saw from Michael Porter Jr. He was +5 on the floor. Pretty good, all things considered, when he's got basically 1 fully functioning arm and 1 fully functioning leg. However, when I kept mentioning there are probably guys on this bench that if you just give them a chance, they might really show you that they're capable of giving you more than Michael Porter Jr. is giving you while injured. Welcome to the conversation, Mr. Julian Strawther. Welcome, Mr. 19 minutes of basketball, 15 points, 2 rebounds, 3 of 4 from the 3, and boy, were those threes timely and clutch. He absolutely stole the momentum and kept the momentum for Denver tonight. Honest to goodness, you would not have won this basketball game, in my humble opinion, without Julian Strawther doing what he did in this game. 19 minutes, and he was able to deliver. And not just deliver, but in a clutch way. Julian Strawther is the type of guy that, if we're being fully honest here, let's just call it what it is. If Coach Malone were still the head coach right now, I'm not sure we'd see those Julian Strawther minutes. Really don't think we would. I think we'd still be pushing Michael Porter Jr. We'd still be pushing Russell Westbrook. You gave Julian Strawther 19 minutes to prove himself, and boy, did he. If you get that kind of confidence and swagger from Strawther on the road in Game 7, I'd be a little scared if I were OKC, because what has the difference maker been in this series? Let's be real. SGA, you could call him a difference maker, sure. But you could also call Aaron Gordon a difference maker, right? For every talented player on the starting 5 roster for OKC, you've got one on Denver to match. That's the truth. The difference maker has been the bench. That's been the X factor here. There was one game where OKC's bench outscored Denver 35-8. I think last game it was like 22-12 or something, 22-10 was the difference there. The bench has been the difference. You got 15 points out of Strawther tonight. 15. You got 8 from Russell Westbrook. And I know Russell Westbrook's minutes, a little scary there, especially towards the beginning. And you want to see better from Russell Westbrook in Game 7. Absolutely. I'm right there with you. You got 4 points from Watson. So 12 plus 15 is what? 27? You get 27 points from the Denver Nuggets bench tonight. 27. You got 32 from OKC's bench. But that just shows the difference that a bench, a little bit of help for Nikola Jokic and company, a little bit of help goes a long way for this Denver Nuggets team. The bench has been the X factor. If we want to get a little more technical, the bench has been the demise of the Denver Nuggets. There's no help. They've got 3 guys coming off the bench. 3. If those guys don't deliver, it is all on the starters. And one of those starters is exceptionally broken. One of those starters is not in full health. One of those starters is really struggling right now. So the X factor is the bench. You get that from Julian Strawther in Game 7. Oh, we've got a different series. Because the bench, let's call it what it is. The bench has been MIA for most of this series. And the series is tied, folks. Where are those OKC and 4 people now? You really didn't think Denver was going to take this thing the distance? You really didn't think playoff experience would make a difference in this series? You're crazy. And now you're getting some of these young bucks with a little bit of swagger and confidence. Come on now. That's what you need. Especially if the Denver Nuggets get past this series and go on to the next. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. Sue me. But Julian Strawther making some noise, making some big things happen for the young dude. I love it. And I am very confident that if Coach Malone were still the head coach, you would not have seen. Julian Strawther wouldn't have even been given the opportunity to do what he did tonight. And likely, the Nuggets would not have won this game. Sometimes that's all it takes. It takes patience with young guys. If they're not getting valuable minutes and reps in games, how do you expect them to build up their confidence and get a little bit of that playoff swagger? They can't get it on the bench. They don't get it in practice. You got to give them a chance. David Adelman gave Strawther a chance, probably mostly because his back was against the wall, right? Like, we're kind of running out of options here. MPJ, 2 points last game. Russ has been struggling. My starters are getting tired. What do I do? Well, you got to take advantage of the 3 guys you've got on the bench, whatever that looks like. Okay. That comment, I'm already in the next series. It's so hard for me to not go there. I'm with you. You know, I'm always thinking like ahead. But I'm also big on like, don't mush. If you're a sports bettor, you know, mushing bets, there's nothing that infuriates me more than when someone is sitting next to me and I'm like, oh my gosh, I only need 3 more points from Jamal and it's the start of the 4th quarter. And they're like, oh, you're going to get that easy. Shut your mouth. Are you kidding me? Shut up. But people do it all the time. So I'm not a big fan of a bet moosher. So I don't want to moosh. I don't want to mush my Denver Nuggets in game 7. Don't want to do that. But you see this level of basketball out of Denver from now until whenever they're done playing basketball, it's going to be tough to beat this team. You get this much more help off the bench. We got to, it's games like this that I think put a little bit of stuff into perspective, right? Because it's very easy to watch some of the Denver's L's this season. And I'm with you. You're not weird if you think this way, okay? Because I'm right there with you. Well, I am weird, so maybe it is weird, but we don't care. It's a safe space here on this show. You understand? So here's the deal. It's very easy to look at some of the L's that Denver has faced this season and go, what kind of a team is this, right? Are they fraudulent? Because how do you drop a game to the Washington Wizards, but you give OKC hell on the road? What's up with that? This team has felt nearly impossible to read. What are the Denver Nuggets? Let's start there. Well, the Denver Nuggets have always had, when the doubters are loud, Nikola Jokic, okay? We're seeing a completely different and elevated version of Aaron Gordon. Let's not forget, Aaron Gordon tonight on the floor, plus 16. Now, let the little stat nerds tell you he didn't do nothing tonight. Only 5 points for Aaron Gordon. That defensive effort by Aaron Gordon, give me that all day long. So you didn't even really get that clutch gene we've seen from Aaron Gordon offensively in this game. We've seen him at the buzzer. He's not scared. There's nothing that scares Aaron Gordon right about now. I can tell you that much. So you're going to get more out of AG in game 7. I know that for a fact. Let's just say hypothetically you don't get more from Russ. Russ continues to struggle. But we saw what Strawther can do. Now Adelman has the confidence to utilize Strawther in ways, and Strawther has the confidence to push himself. Coming off of an injury is hard. It absolutely is. Coming off of an injury is tough. Oh, shoot. You guys are right. I totally did not even think about the hammy situation for AG. But you know what? I just have a feeling in my gut that AG in whatever way is going to make an impact in game 7. Period. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. It's these Denver Nuggets, the things they've gone through in their personal lives, the things they've gone through as a team, the leadership. I'm not going to get sentimental and I'm not going to get super religious right now, but I truly believe to my core that his brother is with him every step of the way. His brother has been by his side this entire postseason run. He's been by his side this entire season. AG's going to be all right. I'm putting my faith in the man above, all right? So we're just going to pretend like all is good with AG. Cuz splashing a 3 at the buzzer almost at the buzzer with exactly 3.2 seconds left on the clock. Drew's number's 32. Sorry. I'm not trying to get emotional here. I've got goosebumps everywhere. You can fight it if you want. You could say, Liv, I don't believe in that hocus pocus, but I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. I'm telling you what happened. Okay. So you didn't even really get that clutch magic that we've seen from Aaron Gordon in the postseason so far tonight. And the Nuggets found a way to win. Hello, Julian Strawther. Welcome to the chat. Let's chat, shall we? If Coach Malone were still here, you would not have seen Julian Strawther be given that opportunity and that chance. Why? Because Calvin Booth would have been right in investing in the youngsters. Their beef was too deep, ladies and gentlemen. He did not want to prove Mr. Booth correct in any capacity this season. Nope. Screw you. Screw you, buddy. I don't care who you brought on this team. I want Russ. I want MPJ. I want Jamal. Even if they're not delivering, that's who I want. MPJ struggling, Russ struggling, that's who we would have seen out there. We wouldn't have seen Julian Strawther get a chance. You wouldn't. But Adelman, as much as they trust Adelman, he trusts them. And sometimes these young guys, all they need is a chance, an opportunity to prove not to their team, but also to themselves that they are capable. Strawther showed up in a big way tonight, and you really love to see it. The young guy made plays, man, and they were timely and they were clutch. And I think it gave him a little bit of swagger that I'd love to see him travel with to OKC. And this is pretty much the perfect team to be on if you're a young guy like Strawther. You're under exceptional leadership. You've got hype men all around you. I'm going to give a shout out here. By the way, I felt my eyes just now well up a little bit, like I was getting emotional. Stop. It's happening. I don't know how I'm going to have my own children someday. They're going to say one thing. I'm going to cry. It's going to be ridiculous and stupid. Forgive me. But watching Peyton Watson on the bench, hyping up Julian Strawther, come on now. Look at me. You can't see. I'm glad you can't see. I am getting a little emotional about it. This team has just been through a lot. Constantly doubted. I'm watching Kendrick Perkins right here up on the screen right ahead of me, looking like he just went to a funeral. The dude is emotional. What are you sad for? That was good basketball. Well, he's sad because it doesn't push the narrative that these national media heads want to push, which is Denver's fraudulent. OKC's the best. They can't be stopped. They're winning it all. Denver, what I love about Denver is this, and pardon my French in advance. Denver is really good at shaking shit up. You understand? They really are. Just when you think, hell, I'm a Nuggets fan born and raised, and just when I think, all right, it's over. It's over. Forget it. Pack it up. Here we go. Let me not get my feelings hurt. Let me just expect the worst here. Booyah. Here they come. Here they come to make you look like an idiot. Yep. Every time. Kendrick Perkins is sick to his stomach right about now. A lot of national media heads are, I'm afraid. You can't count out the Denver Nuggets point blank, period. Now, can you be realistic and say OKC is going to perform a little bit better at home? Of course you can. I'm not an idiot. When have I ever not been realistic about my Denver Nuggets? OKC is going to give you a little bit more at home. They only shot 28% from the three-point line. You think they're doing that again at home? Doubt it. Doubt it. Free throws. Nuggets got to the line twice as much as OKC. You think we get that again? Doubt it. The Nuggets out-rebounded OKC in an exceptional way, 52-40 in the rebounds. Offensive rebounds, 11-7. Love to see it. 14 turnovers. I'd like about half as many, please. This Denver team just has grit. They've seen it all. They've been there, done that, right? When they won the championship, it was kind of a season like OKC was having, except OKC, no, it was pretty similar in the sense of staying at the top of the Western Conference for most of the season and clean sweeps in the postseason and all that good stuff. The Nuggets had a pretty easy, I'm not going to say easy. They made it look easy the year that they won. They were just flying past people. Bye, see ya. Nice knowing you. Bye. Okay, we're going to go win it all. Thanks. Bye, see ya. And I think that's what a lot of people predicted for OKC. Still a chance, of course. Game 7. Anything can happen. Elimination is on the line for both teams. And that's what you have to remember. Elimination is on the line for both teams. The pressure is its highest right now for both teams at the same time. It is win or go home. It was win or go home for the Nuggets tonight. They found a way. What does that tell you? It tells you that Denver knows how to play when they're uncomfortable. Denver knows how to win when they're scared and they're nervous and they're uncomfortable. Actually, I don't think Denver does get scared or nervous, and that's the benefit of playoff experience. You get a little bit of thicker skin. You just learn to just play your game. You don't let yourself get all hyped up on pressure. We haven't really seen OKC in this spot. Game 7, where there's a little more exhaustion in your bones. And it is do or effing die. We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen that yet by OKC. So, you could argue as well, because of the hype train that followed OKC all season long, there's double pressure on OKC in Game 7. Hell, that's the MVP, right? That's the team that's supposed to win it all, right? That's the team that's been favored to win it all season, right? Right. The pressure, all of the pressure right now is on OKC. Obviously, the Denver Nuggets are a smart basketball team. They know they've got pressure. They're going to apply the pressure to themselves, but the world is applying the pressure to OKC. And we have yet to see them on this stage fight through that and win in a Game 7. We have not yet seen it. A lot of you talk like we have. A lot of you really talk like we have, but we have not seen it by OKC yet. Haven't. And I'm not dogging on them. That's the truth. We've seen Denver with their back against the wall. Elimination on the line. At the end of a series. We've seen it. So, to me, the pressure is on OKC. Will they choke? We're about to find out. But this is when I kept saying the playoff experience is going to favor the Denver Nuggets more as the series progresses. Kevin, your comment there. Don't forget, Liv, when the series was tied 2-2. Yes, Kevin. So, I'm not giving you a hard time, but I am just being real. On my show today at 12:30, I did acknowledge that I said this, and I did say I absolutely am having second thoughts. After some conversations with my producer and just some people, it really occurred to me, like, if Denver can get it done in 6, I actually think they have the upper hand in Game 7. So yes, Kevin, I'm glad that you're holding me accountable to my words, but I promise you, if you go to our YouTube and you check out my show that I did today, I did say that I was having second thoughts on making that statement. So thank you for holding me accountable to things that I've said, but I did clarify that a little bit this morning and was like, yeah, I just think that playoff experience really gets to shine in a Game 7 spot. Really, really gets to shine. But yeah, you guys are in the comments saying when whoever wins Game 5 typically has a pretty good chance of winning the series. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I think the factor of, and listen, OKC's good. They're going to make adjustments. They're not shooting 28% from the 3 at home in an elimination game in Game 7. Okay, they're not. They're going to shoot better than that. We know that. They're going to make adjustments, as are the Denver Nuggets. But I think this Denver Nuggets team is going to have an extra emotional layer added onto that. Knowing who's next, knowing what they've dealt with, knowing how far they've come when the odds were stacked against them. Most people didn't think they were making it past the first round. Can we also give a little bit of respect? If you are one of the if you're an OKC fan in this chat, please, I want you to just sound off a little tiny bit. Can we at least acknowledge that with such little depth and so many injuries, the fact that this Nuggets team is about to do back-to-back series that go the distance, that go 7 games, and they're still playing this way, it kind of looks like every game they've gotten better at something. And that is a testament to the talent that is on this Nuggets roster. Can we all acknowledge that, whether or not we're Nuggets fans or not? I mean, it's pretty, I think even for Nuggets fans, we're kind of shocked by what's happening here because the bar was low, right? Like, you fire your coach with 3 regular season games left. You find out behind the scenes there is just animosity and beef and BS between GM and coach. How the hell do you have a successful season with BS between your management and your coach? Almost impossible. Brandon Cristal with the comment that says, just like I said before game 6, mark it down. Game 7 is absolutely 100% must win. Gotta tell you, Brandon Cristal, the one, the only BK, he'll hit you with one-liners sometimes that are so brutally honest, black and white, really. There's no in between, you know? Game 7 is a must win. Yes. He'll text me sometimes in the middle of games. He's like, and it's after Jamal's hit like 3 threes in a row. He's like, if Jamal keeps shooting like this, they're going to win. It's like, yeah, if he's 100% from the field, I would imagine we win this game. Just very blunt, very to the point. You guys, we're going to take a quick pause for me blabbing, blah, blah. I believe we have Coach Adelman, Mark, in our, it should be loaded up there for us. We've got about a little under 3 minutes of Coach Adelman. But before then, I've got to tell you guys, tonight's show is brought to you by our friends over at Landmark Lincoln. If you haven't seen the all-new 2025 Lincoln Navigator, oh my gosh, it is a true mic drop. You guys know I love a mic drop. I do quite a few of those on my show. From Lincoln on what a luxury SUV needs to be. So you guys go to landmarklincoln.com and check out what they've got, or go in person. Visit them on Broadway in Inglewood and see why they've been Colorado's trusted Lincoln dealer since 1911. Shout out to our friends over at Landmark Lincoln. And now let's hear from Coach Adelman on his thoughts about how Game 6 transpired and maybe some of his thoughts ahead of Game 7. Let's check it out.
David, I'll start with Julian. The run at the end of the third quarter, obviously huge in terms of getting you guys some separation. How important was it to have someone kind of lower down on the bench, I guess, step up in those moments?
Yeah, and I think Julian's going to get credit for scoring 15 points. I thought he held water defensively, too. That was a big deal. You want to keep an offensive player out there, but they have to be able to handle their own on the other end, and he did. We didn't have to change schematically, defensively, because he sat down, moved his feet, and guarded. And then, obviously, him being able to stay out there because of that, 15 points in 19 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's funny thinking about Game 5 and Game 4. You know, Game 4, their role players make threes. Game 5, Dort makes threes. Tonight, we had a guy step up, make some shots, and then our main people were so complimentary. And obviously, in the fourth quarter, to win that quarter after what's happened the last 2 games says a lot about our guys and the fact that they can bounce back from anything. And I keep saying that. So, I don't know. We just keep finding a way. We'll go play another Game 7.
Coach, another game where you have an 8-point lead going to the fourth quarter,
Yep.
and this time, and you talked pregame about getting time to rest Jamal, and you did rest Jokic as opposed to last game. Can you just take us through the thought process of why you sort of changed things up and how that worked for you?
Well, it's going to be one or the other. Like I said, last game I kind of kicked myself for not taking one of them out. And Nikola seemed, body language-wise, like he wanted to sit for a second. The beautiful thing was I had 4 timeouts again. I know it didn't work out last game, but that does let you control your substitutions. And those guys held water, to start that quarter. So this was an incredible team win. Small thing, I know Michael's been struggling. Mike made it 2 early threes. It kind of loosens up the floor a little bit. It allows you to play in space much easier for Jamal and Nikola, and then obviously Julian in the second half. So you had 2 guys make impactful threes where you're allowed to play the way we want to play offensively. And outside of the end where we turned it over, I thought we took care of it pretty well throughout.
What did you see from your guys backs against the wall, facing elimination, 2 heartbreaking losses to be able to come out and get a pretty dominant win today and force a Game 7?
Same thing I always see. Yeah, I mean, those losses were tough, but, I mean, it was 3-2. The series is still here. I've said this, I know it's cliche, but every game is its own chapter. It's its own thing. It's its own entity. And different people are going to step up, just like for them. They've had people step up in Game 4 and 5. And tonight we had that team that did it. And now you put yourself in a situation where, hey, let's go see what happens on Sunday. And I know I got a group of guys in there that have been in a lot of Game 7s, seen a lot of things. So we're excited for the opportunity.
Absolutely love it. And chat, I want you guys to get loud in the chat really quick. We're going to play a second clip from Coach Adelman, and we're going to hear his thoughts about Game 7. I told you that we're going to have Game 7, but I want you guys to get in the chat. He said, every game you're going to have a different guy step up. So drop your predictions while we play the second clip from Coach Adelman on who you think on the Denver Nuggets is going to have the biggest game and step up the most for the Denver Nuggets. While we're playing Coach Adelman, get in that comment section and let me know. But here is the second clip, his thoughts ahead of Game 7. Here we go.
Coach, we heard all year, I mean, you mentioned it, the 72-win team going into this round, and we know how good they are.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be deeper and all this. It's still going 7. How have we gotten here with you guys, with your, trying to find your legs and everything? How are we getting to a Game 7?
I think just for us, just like the Clipper series, it's just all about trying to be in the game late. This was different because we had, I guess you could say, control of it in the fourth quarter, which has not been the case throughout the playoffs. It's been about us staying close enough, and then for our main people to close it out. I don't have an answer for that other than I only think about my own team and the challenge of playing great teams. It's just being consistent mentally. And, again, I've said this throughout the series. What they did this year is incredible. They've earned the home court on Sunday. And on the flip side, we've earned the right to go down there and the opportunity to try to beat them in a Game 7. So this is what it's all about. A team that's done it all year long, a group in there that's hung a banner. I would tune into this game.
2 things. First, a point of detail. When did Jamal give you the thumbs up?
Got you.
Yeah. And second, how good do you feel going into Game 7 with Joker on your side?
Yeah, Jamal was right before the game. I had a better feeling the closer we got to the team meeting, which was at 32. He could just see in his face a little more color, like he was kind of coming around. And you know how this is. Like, if these guys, even a slim chance, why not try it? My worry more so was once I knew he was going to play is how long was he going to play, and he played 42 minutes. So he obviously was ready to roll. And Game 7, Nicola's such a special player. You're right, having him on your side is so important. But beyond that, the group, and I'm going to keep saying it's not just the wins we've had, the big wins in the past, it's the losses. And going into this what it feels like. And if they jump out on us early, that we can still sustain. And if we jump out on them early, it doesn't mean anything. It's a long game. So we understand that. It's a process-oriented thing in a Game 7. You have to work your way through it. Very rarely is it like the Clipper game, then first round. If it goes that way, that would be great. But, yeah, I just think our mentality, our overall mentality should help us play in a really tough environment and give ourselves a chance to win. Yep.
I absolutely loved that answer because I think that's what I've been trying to say this entire time is that the upper hand that the Denver Nuggets have outside of playoff experience is their mentality. I don't know, truly, maybe this is some of my homer coming out a little bit. I don't know a tougher basketball team than the Denver Nuggets in terms of what they've had to deal with this season in their personal lives and in this game. They've been thrown a lot of curveballs, and every time they respond, and every time you talk to a player after a loss, every single one of them shares the same sentiment, which is we know how to respond. We know how to respond, and boy, do they. They've been responding all year to curveballs being thrown their way. The mentality is where this Denver Nuggets team has the upper hand. Couple of things I want to shout out before we get to some of your guys' comments about who you think is stepping up in Game 7. 1, I'm very tough on Michael Porter Jr., but please don't get that twisted with me not respecting Michael Porter Jr. as a player. When Michael Porter Jr. has even just a couple of threes fall, it does make a difference for the entirety of the Denver Nuggets. That's why I'm hard on Michael Porter Jr., because he is more valuable than I think he even realizes. He can move the needle more than he even realizes, even in bad games for Michael Porter Jr. Him just being there and making plays. But when you start to see him get in that mopey, sulky mode, it really sucks the life out of this team. It sucks the life out of me sitting on the couch, damn it. I know for a fact it affects this Denver Nuggets team majorly. So I'm tough on Michael Porter Jr. for many reasons. One, he makes a lot of money and this is his job. Of course, that's just me being a hard ass. But two, when Michael Porter Jr. makes a play, it brings so much value to this Denver Nuggets team as a whole. He really does know how to either steal the momentum, keep the momentum, or change the momentum in a game. He does. And so even if you get 2 points from MPJ, that's a problem in my eyes for sure, because of the fact that you just need him against an OKC team, right? But I get he's injured. And the other part of that is just, I want to see him even through injury, even when the shots aren't falling the way that you want them to. Keep that MPJ swagger about you, because it is contagious and it does affect the group as a whole. And when he's on, I'm not talking about a stat line on, when he's just on, when he shows up, that game in this series where he showed up, you felt it immediately. The moment the game started, I was like, oh, he's here. He's diving for balls. He's on the floor. He's getting intense. That's what you want to see from him every night. Injured or not, 20 plus points or not, I don't care. Just make plays, because it does make a difference. It does. The second thing I want to bring up, Jamal Murray. I'm tough on these guys, of course. I love these guys, though, okay? I'm very tough on the Denver Nuggets. That is, to me, what sets me apart from other analysts or media members, maybe in Denver or just collectively. I'm not afraid to be hard on my team. You've got to toe a line of respect at all times, because these are human beings. But I'm very hard on this team, and I'm not afraid to be hard on this team. Ever. And I've got to be around this team. I've got to walk into a post-game presser room after I've been hard on them and just accept that, hey, they may not like everything I have to say. But I keep it real and I keep it respectful. And I want to give a little respect to professional athletes as a whole. You are not getting 42 minutes out of me if I've got a sniffly nose. I could tell you that right now. Forget it. I get a sniffle in my nose and I'm not moving off the couch, period. You better find a good movie, because I'm not moving. These athletes are built different. Professional athletes are built different. I have nothing but respect for these athletes for what they do on a daily basis, good or bad, in terms of their performance. They deserve our respect. We watch them as a source of entertainment, but this is their job. This is their livelihood. This is how they feed their families. And I'm telling you, I get a sniffle. I sneeze one time. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. Not really. I'm actually a pretty tough cookie, and I don't like going to the doctor. So I usually try to fight it out as long as possible. However, nothing but respect for Jamal Murray for pushing through this game, and not just pushing through this game, but playing 42 minutes and playing them well. Jamal Murray on the floor tonight didn't just score points. He made an impact big time. Plus 28 with Jamal Murray on the floor. Flu game? ? I think so. Let's get to some of these comments really quick on who you guys think is stepping up in Game 7. I think if we scroll up a little bit, we've got some people that were dropping some names. Maybe up a little more. One of you says Russell Westbrook will step up in Game 7. 17 years in this league. He's seen a thing or two in terms of a pressured basketball game. You hope you get that. David says Joker will step up in Game 7. Listen, what do you have the other night? 44 points, 15 boards, I think it was. You definitely anticipate Nikola Jokic doing everything in his power to help the Nuggets win Game 7, no matter what it takes. Let's go up a little more. I think we got a P-Watt comment here. I love this answer. But to me, P-Watt's a lot like Julian Strawther. He's got to be given the chance. He's going to make some mistakes out there. You got to let him play through it. He's going to give you some defensive upside. And every so often, he's going to have a really clutch three that falls. You got to let him rock through that. CB is a great one. I actually had Brandon Cristal text me in his funny ways, as per usual. He said, before my comment gets lost in the chat, I want to say Vlatko is stepping up. I was like, LOL, you're funny. But he also said CB as well. And I do like that answer. I think CB... Listen, you win a championship on every level of your career. high school, college, the NBA. That's called dog, baby. Look it up. You Google the definition of dog, and I'm pretty sure a picture of Christian Brown pops up. Just saying. So yeah, CB in a big way in Game 7 would be huge for this team because he brings the energy. He brings the effing energy. This is all while we have not heard officially who the MVP is. What if we hear it before Game 7? What if we hear it during Game 7? A little motivation factor there, I think. Okay, a little motivation factor there. Yeah, Game 7 is going to, simply put, everybody has to be making plays in Game 7. Everyone. Everybody. You're going to get better 3-point percentage from OKC at home. You just are. You just are. That's just the facts. So, Gabriel says they better not say anything before the game. Would you put it past the NBA to play a little mind game here? You know, I don't like jumping into the conspiracy theory kind of crap. I really don't. But I would imagine the NBA, in their brains, believes it would be better for all and better for the NBA if OKC made it past this series and not the Denver Nuggets. And to that I say, you're wrong, first of all, because I don't think there would be anything sicker than a little revenge back and forth action between the Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. The Timberwolves have had the Nuggets number. I think that's cinematic right there. Because either way, you're pumped, right? Anthony Edwards going to the finals. Oh my gosh, the world goes bonkers. Or the Nuggets, after a season-long struggling against the Timberwolves, get their revenge. I don't know. The storyline to me sounds a whole lot better that way than it does if SGA gets embarrassed by Anthony Edwards. Oops. I didn't just say that. Is my mic still hot? I think so. Oopsie. Slipped out. Didn't mean to say that. Well, there's my prediction. There's my prediction. We're about to have Jamal Murray. We're going to hear from him on this very show. Okay. We're going to have Jamal Murray, and there's a couple other players we might play for you guys as well. Want to stop for a moment and say thank you for being here. We've got over 28,000 of you at 10 p.m. on a Thursday. And I really do appreciate it more than you know. I have been a little mentally exhausted as of late. And have had a couple of moments of like, you know, am I good at this job? Do I want to do this job for a living for the rest of my life? And when I do these shows and I work with Gorilla on these shows, it's a constant reminder that I love what I do. I'm good at what I do, and you guys really do make this very enjoyable for me. So thank you. I'm not going to get sappy. I'm not really much of an emotional person. This is about as emotional as it gets for me. Me acknowledging that I have feelings is pretty much the end of it. But I really do appreciate you guys for hanging with me throughout this season. It's been a very long season. It's been exhausting for many reasons. One, we've been doing a lot of damn post games. I mean, we've got 2 back-to-back Game 7s. We've been doing post games for months, and we've got 14 post games that we've done in just a few weeks here. So it's been exhausting in that way, but it's also been exhausting because this Nuggets team has been, there's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows. It's been emotional. It's been emotionally exhausting trying to track this team and figure out what they're about, right? Because one moment you're like, oh, this is a championship team right here. And the next minute you're like, oh, they just lost to the Wizards. Okay, well, anyway, moving on. So yeah, it's been emotionally exhausting. It's been mentally exhausting. It's just been an exhausting year, I think, for everybody. So I really do appreciate you guys for hanging out with me for all these shows. And this community has grown so large. I feel like, you know, earlier in the season when we were doing these post games, we would still get a great community, a very large community. It was like, you know, some nights we'd hit 10,000 and it was like, wow, yes. Other nights it was like 5,000, which every time we've hit a milestone, it's felt cool and awesome. And I've been appreciative of everyone. And for those of you that have been OGs, I know who you are. I've seen you every night. You've been with me, and I did not forget about you at all. But to see this community the other night, we had 40,000 people live at midnight hanging out with Liv Moods talking Denver Nuggets basketball. And I do also love it and appreciate it because the national media heads don't talk about this team nearly enough. So I will. I'll talk about the best player in the world and his supporting cast. I will. If they won't, I'll do it. And so to see this community grow and to see more people sit and listen to the Denver Nuggets, it's been really cool and really special. So I appreciate and love all of you. I really do. Thank you guys for being here. Like I said, in just a moment, we're going to get Jamal Murray, his thoughts following this game. And let's see some of these comments we've got. I appreciate you guys. I see you guys. Thank you guys so much for your comments. Kevin says, if Jalen Williams only scores 6 points on Sunday like he did today, I think it's up it just moved up, Mark. Yeah, there it is. Your Nuggets will definitely win Game 7. Here's the deal. Also, can we talk about the 2 Jalen Williams things? Thank goodness they're spelled differently because my head would explode trying to keep track of that. OKC's good. There's no sugarcoating this at all. I'm not running from it at all. I know for a fact it is not going to be an easy win in Game 7 for either team, really. I think both teams are going to come very prepared. They're going to make the proper adjustments. You know OKC is going to shoot better at home. They will. They will. That's where they're the most comfortable. Home court advantage is a thing. One of the things I loved that Coach Adelman said was they've earned the right to home court advantage, but we earn the right to go there and beat them in Game 7. That's what I think becomes so frustrating about the lack of coverage on the Denver Nuggets from a national media perspective. You don't have to respect the Denver Nuggets. That's your prerogative. I'm not trying to fight you on that. I don't care to, really. But they've earned the respect that they should get. It's that simple. Nikola Jokic has earned the respect that he should get on a daily basis. And he still doesn't get it as much as he should. He's earned it. Nothing this Nuggets team has done has been handed to them. Matter of fact, I don't remember enough people talking about the way in which Denver won a championship. This was not a let's cherry pick superstars from around the league and build a perfect championship roster and go win a ring. No. This was the same group of guys putting their heads down, staying locked in and staying focused for 6-7 years to get it done. They weren't cherry picking superstars. You didn't have superstars hopping and going, I want to play in Denver. No, I don't really think anyone wanted to play in Denver except for the Denver Nuggets. This is a small market. Denver's not a super attractive team when you look around the league and look at where most of these superstars hop to. So, to me, that's 1,000 times more impressive than a Phoenix Suns team that's playing hopscotch with superstars to try to build the perfect championship roster. To be honest, I think that business model is fleeting. I do. Look at the Boston Celtics last year. A lot of those guys were the same group of guys that put their heads down and stayed focused. They got Drew Holiday. That was the missing piece. Bingo. Here you go. I think that business model is outdated. These superstars hopping around and trying to figure out which team is their best fit to win a championship, I don't think it works like that anymore. OKC's another great example of young guys that stayed focused and stayed hungry. And then you add an Alex Caruso, boom, there's your missing piece. So when the Nuggets won, to me, that was one of the first teams really where there was no cherry picking of superstars. None. This was the same group that's been patient with the process, and it finally paid off. And I didn't see nearly enough national media heads talking about that and acknowledging how impressive that is. They did that. They did. So it always blows my mind when I see people still not respecting the Denver Nuggets. I think that they've earned your respect. Now, don't get me wrong. Since the championship, have they done a really great job with the new updated business model and adding the right pieces? No, they have not. And I've spent plenty of time on my shows talking about that aspect as well, that they have not been great at the business model, which is you got to play chess sometimes. I think there's been so much loyalty to the 2023 roster and those that are remaining from it because they did do it the right way. They did stay patient. They did stay focused. So MPJ struggling, we're going to stay patient. We're going to stand alongside him until he gets right. That may not happen. Sometimes a player outgrows a franchise and a franchise outgrows a player. That's just part of the business as well. So talking about this specific season, still people don't want to give Denver the respect they deserve. The injuries, the off-court issues that they've all personally dealt with, the coach drama, the GM drama, the lack of depth, and they're making it this far. They forced a Game 7 in back-to-back series. They have a really good chance at playing in the Western Conference Finals. I don't think many people anticipated them going this far. I know a lot of you, actually, and I have a great memory, by the way. I know a lot of you, actually, that were in this very show, in that very comment section, saying that they didn't stand a chance against the Clippers. And then, when they beat the Clippers, it was, oh, just wait, though. OKC, you guys don't stand a chance either. OKC in 4. Game 7, baby. Game 7, where the Nuggets absolutely have the upper hand when it comes to mentality. And when they're all on, they're pretty evenly matched as well in raw talent. All the pressure sits on OKC right now, in my opinion, in Game 7. All the pressure. And they're young, and they've not done it yet. They have not proven themselves on the biggest stage, which is in a Game 7 elimination on the line against a former contender. Playoff experience makes a difference, folks. It's just the truth. The quicker you accept that, the better. It makes a huge difference. Huge. And they've got that. The Denver Nuggets have that playoff experience. They do. OKC does not. There were a lot of high hopes for OKC last season, and that did not work in their favor. The team with more playoff experience beat them. So it will be very interesting. I don't know what that name says, but it says MPJ still wants that apology. He's not going to get one. Oh, does that make me rude? No, he's not going to get one. No. I gave him his flowers in that game where he showed up. I gave him flowers today. I'm not going to apologize, though. You know, when you're injured and you choose to play, your injury can't be the reason you didn't play well. That's the unfortunate reality. MPJ's also been streaky and inconsistent throughout the season, not just right now with an injury. Even not injured, he was streaky and inconsistent. And so I think with Michael Porter Jr., I just want him to keep tapping in to and reminding himself of his value. The value that he brings to the table is huge. The value he brings is huge. And so any kind of play he can make is a big one. And you saw him tonight making plays. You saw those 2 threes falling early. And guess what? It was a confidence booster for not just Michael Porter Jr., but the whole entire team. That's the value that Michael Porter Jr. brings. Even on bad nights, he's bringing value if he shows up the right way. We're going to hear from Jamal Murray now. I believe we have a Jamal Murray clip ready for you guys around 3.5 minutes. Again, don't forget about our friends over at Landmark Lincoln. You can go check them out in person in Englewood, or you can head to landmarklincoln.com to check out some of their new rides. They are doing amazing things. Shout out to them. But we've got about 3.5 minutes of Jamal Murray, who made an exceptional impact in this game with an illness. We weren't sure if he was playing. He played, and he was plus 28 on the floor. Here is Jamal Murray.
Just how happy were you for Julian Strawther to have that moment?
Super happy, man, because we all know what he's capable of. He just kind of needs to see the floor and get his rhythm, get some time in, not foul and stuff like that. But I mean, you can see how he can impact the game real quick in a high pressure moment. So it was just really good to see him catch that rhythm, show that emotion, and get everybody going. I really felt like he, even when they kind of came back or had a run, like his energy really set the tone for us. Everybody kind of realized what was going on, and we were able to just build off that kind of energy. The crowd got into it and everything like that. So it was just, I think it was just a snowball effect, and we all played better after that, to be honest.
And just following up, I asked DA about resiliency and just where that kind of shows up in between games. Just, you guys are so well known for it overall. Just where do you think you guys show the resilience? Like, where does that come from, and how do you build that? Is it something that you can?
Just from being down all the time. It builds, like I said, it builds a lot of character. You get to find out about not just yourself but your teammates, and that sets you up for the next time you guys are down, and then you guys fight through and you build something else. You maybe figure something else out, and then sets you up for the next time. And just over the years, we've kind of caught a rhythm of playing from behind. So. Like I said, I think we just need to turn that same energy into hitting first and bringing it, not waiting to see what happens or working us up into the game or waiting to get hit first, stuff like that. I think we do just a better job of hitting.
Anything else?
Jamal, you've had a lot of Game 7s in your career, but this is going to be the first one on the road that you guys have had. Does that, because the other ones were in the bubble, neutral site. Does that bring any...
Play Portland at home?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. All right, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Does that bring an additional challenge at all? Just having
to the group, I think just getting everybody ready, it's a lot of fun because there's no crowd for you. You gotta stay together. You gotta bring your own energy. You gotta go in the right mindset, and I think it's just gonna force us to be more together, build more trust and stuff like that. So I think it's a great opportunity. We beat them there, the game 1. I was going to say something. I had to burp. I just think it's going to be a good challenge. It'll be fun. The crowd will be rocking. Energy will be high. This is it'll be a fun matchup and a fun environment as well.
Coach said he thought that the group in the room might have been almost as excited about 2 days off as getting this win. It just looks that way. I asked you after Game 5 how confident you were about Game 6. With 2 days off and with Joker on your side, how confident are you going into Game 7?
No, 100%. I mean, just like I said, that mindset of wanting to go back to OKC, which is crazy, and finish the game out there. So, we used the 2 days off as motivation to go out there and play hard today. So that was good.
All right, cool. Thank you.
That is another very key factor that I think is so important to bring up here. This will be the most rested we have seen the Denver Nuggets in the postseason. 2 whole days. Oh my gosh, you got to be joking me. 2 whole days of rest. Now, this Denver Nuggets team actually does pretty well without rest. In the regular season, if you look at their stats in terms of the second game in a back-to-back, they actually had a pretty stinking good record. But right now, first of all, let's get Jamal Murray a cough drop, please and thanks, and a Pedialyte stat. Okay? This team's been very injured as well. I don't know if I'm OKC. I don't know if I like the idea of the Nuggets getting a little extra rest in their bodies. Oh, my gosh. I mean, think about it. I don't like the Nuggets, not the Nuggets. The NBA scheduling this year just feels off and whack to me. A lot of back-to-backs. The Nuggets had such a weird schedule altogether. And the only reason, I'm not saying that the Nuggets were the only team with a weird schedule. It's not what I'm saying. The scheduling just felt weird all around. But then they went 7 games against the Clippers and had what? Like a day and a half to turn around and face OKC. And OKC was coming off of 8 days of rest. And then this game has gone 7. One of these games between 3 and 4, they had 36 hours between game 3 and game 4. This is rest here for this Nuggets team. Now, normally I would say rest doesn't always help you. In game 1, I think we saw a little bit of rust by OKC in their rest, in their with their rested bodies. They looked a little rusty. So it's not always a good thing. But for the Denver Nuggets, given their injuries this season and Jamal being under the weather, I think rest is actually going to work in their favor here. This will be the most rested we've seen them in the postseason so far. You could see it in Jamal Murray's eyes. He's like, thank God we get to sleep a little bit and take a load off our feet. So that's also a factor we have to consider in game 7, is that the Nuggets have been able to push this thing to 7 games with very limited rest in their bodies. They're going to get a little bit more of that ahead of game 7, which could be a huge difference for the starting 5 specifically. Think about a guy like MPJ. A full extra day of rehab on his injuries could be a difference maker. Jokic getting a full extra day of rest could be a huge difference maker for him. So the rest factor is also very important to mention. And who knows? Who knows what we get out of either of these teams? This has been one of those series where you're just like, it could go either way. I think it's the people that said with such conviction that the Nuggets did not stand a chance in round 1 or round 2 that need to show themselves in the comments. Go ahead. Go ahead. We're all wrong. I've been wrong a million times, and you guys all make sure I know it. Trust me, I know it before you even do. No one can be harder on me than me, by the way. I can let you know that right now. But those of you that with such conviction did not think that the Nuggets stood a single chance in the postseason, I don't understand why you ever thought that with Nikola Jokic on this team. And the best part about it is Nikola Jokic was slowed down quite a bit in this series and struggled quite a bit outside of last game. And Aaron Gordon enters the chat tonight. Julian Strawther enters the chat. If you guys have been on this show before, you have heard me say, what makes you good makes you bad. That's life. That's life. What makes you good makes you bad. What's really stinking great about the Denver Nuggets is at any given moment, anybody can show up. What really sucks about that same exact concept is you have no idea who it's going to be sometimes. And sometimes it's everyone. Sometimes it's 3 of 5 starters. Sometimes it's one guy off the bench. Sometimes it's no one that shows up. And we lose to the Wizards. There's ebbs and flows. Like no other team I've ever seen in my life, the Denver Nuggets will keep me on the edge of my seat. Even in one singular game, they will throw you for a loop. Nuggets up by 20 at the end of the third quarter. This game is not safe. No way, Jose. Reminds me a lot of the Knicks against the Celtics. There's a lot of those games where I was like, we can turn this off. It's over. Oh, you can't count out New York. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. In the same way you can't count out the Denver Nuggets. When you have that mentality coupled with the raw talent, it really does set you apart from a lot of teams in this league. Denver doesn't play perfect basketball. Matter of fact, this season specifically, I don't know if I've seen one game where they've played perfect basketball. I'm not joking. Actually, that's not true. I would say, I'm not going to say Grizzlies, Houston, last game of the regular season, Houston with Adelman stepping in as their head coach. That to me was damn near perfect basketball by Denver. Outside of that, I could count maybe on one hand the amount of Through 4 quarters, great basketball by Denver. One hand, I can count. Outside of that, through 4 quarters, you are pretty much a basket case of stress. That's just the facts. Bye, Only Morale. You have a great night. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very soon, we will have Julian Strawther's thoughts following his outstanding performance and a win for the Denver Nuggets in Game 6 to avoid elimination. So I know you guys are probably getting tired and you're sick of hearing me talk, but we will hear from Julian Strawther in just a moment. That clip will be ready, and then we'll wrap up and get out of here. David, you're exactly right. We need all 4 quarters. This Nuggets team has to step up. Winning 68 games doesn't mean SHIT. Whoop. Look what just happened to the Cavs. Yeah, so here's the deal. And I think we've got to start getting this through our heads a lot faster. I said it many times. In my opinion, outside of getting home court advantage, which is the benefit of the regular season and how you land and your standings, the playoffs to me is kind of a clean slate. It really is. It is a different beast. Look at the Houston Rockets, the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Eliminated by the old, injured Golden State Warriors. Playoff experience matters. It just does. Every time. The Nuggets have that. OKC does not. The Nuggets will be the most rested they've been in the postseason in Game 7 on Sunday. There's quite a few things working in the Denver Nuggets' favor. There are also quite a few things working in OKC's favor, which is why this game really is going to be crucial that Denver shows up for 4 quarters. What game was it where it was horribly bad, where they combined for 26 total points in both the first and the fourth quarter against OKC? You can't have that. This is why I would have preferred to sample out what it looks like to start Russell Westbrook in this game ahead of Game 7. Because I think where we lose the Nuggets quite a bit is the very beginning of games and the very end. They start slow, they end slow. And when OKC's at home and they've kind of gotten a little bit more of that do or die momentum that every team gets in a Game 7 spot, quarter 1 and quarter 4 will matter more than they typically do. And we know that those are quarters that the Nuggets struggle with quite a bit. They're going to have to start strong and finish strong. So I almost wish we would have sampled out Russ as a starter at least once, given how badly Michael Porter Jr. has struggled. Now, again, with a little extra rest, maybe you get Michael Porter Jr. popping off. Who knows? Who's to say? That's what is so frustrating about the Nuggets. You really can't say with conviction that guy's going to go off. You can't. You just can't. But then you get guys like Julian Strawther that step up to the plate and make some big plays. Big time plays. Clutch, timely, big time, momentum swinging plays. And we're going to hear from Julian Strawther right stinking now. The man, the myth, the legend. The guy that was given a chance and proved that he's ready for the moment. Imagine that. We wouldn't have gotten this with Coach Malone still running the ship. I'm just being honest here. But you got it tonight, and you got to see that Julian Strawther is ready for big moments. And you hope to see that again in Game 7, because if you do, I think there's a pretty good stinking chance that the Denver Nuggets win in Game 7 and advance to the Western Conference Finals. We've got about 3.5 minutes here of Julian Strawther from the locker room. He was called up, next man up mentality. He showed up. He did his job. Here is Julian Strawther from the locker room.
Julian, what was it like to be out there in a rhythm like that with your team needed 3 seasons on the line and have a game like that?
I mean, that's the moments that you dream of when you was a little kid, coming to the game, having all the guys believe in you, find you in your spots, and be able to just make an impact on the game. So.
Can you take us through your emotions when you hit that last 3, look up at the crowd and everyone's losing their minds?
I don't even remember, honestly. It was just when I don't remember, Ma. I don't remember what happened. Honestly, I just wanted to share that moment with my brothers. We all got emotional behind it. It was the timeout. Yeah, that's a moment I remember.
What would you say about Jamal Murray's toughness and his ability to play through being sick?
I mean, Jamal is just a special cat, man. He's wired differently. Regardless of what anyone ever says, we know that he's one of the toughest guys in the room every time he step out. And, today's no different. Playing through illness and being able to, lead the pack and get us a dub, it's huge.
What's it mean to put together a performance collectively like this with your backs against the wall?
Yeah, just like you said, it was win or go home, and I feel like we all just came through as a collective. We understood the assignment. We had to bring energy to the game and leave everything out there. There was nothing to take home with us.
Julian, why is this team so good with its back against the wall?
I think we just got a bunch of winners. We got a bunch of winners and a bunch of guys that have played for the man next to them, and I feel like in a night like tonight that showed. I feel like everybody was playing for the guy next to him and understanding that we just all trying to make it a Sunday to play one more game.
Julian, how much? We all know you as a good shooter, but how much pride do you take in your defense?
Obviously, I know that's one of my biggest areas of improvement, and that's something that I'm focusing a lot of time on. And I understand that that's going to ultimately be the thing that's going to keep me on or off the floor. Offensively, I feel like I belong, and just showing the world that I belong on that end too.
Julian, at the beginning of the playoffs, DA said your role was going to be to stay ready. I guess what have your conversations with him looked like as your role has kind of increased over the second round?
It's been just that, stay ready. Obviously, understanding that there's a night that I may not check in at all, and there's a night like tonight where he's gonna ride with me and understand that I got it going and let me rock. So. Me and him have had a transparent relationship through these playoffs, and I'm really appreciative for him, throwing me out there tonight.
We've already had a Game 7 in this postseason. How much confidence does this group have as you get ready to head to Oklahoma City?
Like you said, having that Game 7 in our back pocket, something that we've already been through as a unit, is huge for us. But, this one's a little different. We're going into hostile territory on the road. But same things apply. Play for the man next to you, and there's nothing to bring home with us. Just empty the tank and get this win.
Julian, you haven't played a ton of minutes in the playoffs so far in your young career, but you've had some massive moments back in college at Gonzaga. How much did those moments prepare you for a night like tonight?
Just playing in all the big games. I feel like I played in every single big game that college basketball had to offer, and I've been able to, like you said, have moments in them games. So my confidence when the lights are bright are sky high.
Julian, speaking of that, you played in some big college games in this building. How comfortable and how fun is it to play in this building?
Especially tonight, it's super fun. Just the crowd is so engaged. You go to other arenas and it's a little different here. Just the fans and how loud it gets, and we're just truly thankful for our 6 man.
Do you think Chet's okay after getting fouled so hard by Jokic?
He'll be all right. That's the least of my concerns right now.
Julian.
Thank you.
Yeah, respectfully, we're not thinking about Chet. I do hope he's okay. I'm not wishing him ill or injury, but Julian Strawther, when given the chance, like I said, rose to the occasion. And I loved the question about him at Gonzaga and how does this prepare you? And he said, we've got winners. This Nuggets team is composed of guys that are built for big moments. You look at Christian Brown and the different stages of his career that he's won a championship. That's not easy to do. You look at Julian Strawther at Gonzaga. You look at those that won a championship in the NBA with this team. They're built for big moments. We've seen Aaron Gordon step up in really big moments in the postseason. We saw Julian do it tonight. You've seen CB step up in really big moments. You've seen Peyton Watson playing really crucial minutes and stepping up. I think the beauty, and it was a negative at the time, the constant inconsistencies of the starting 5 due to injuries, right? You didn't have Aaron Gordon for a large part of the season. You were missing Jamal for a while. So guys like Russell Westbrook, guys like Peyton Watson had to always have that next man up mentality. At any given moment, you could be called up and have to show up and show out. And I think that all season long prepared this Nuggets team to be exceptionally good at adjusting, responding, and stepping up to the plate. So I think that that's a really, really great trait to have. And again, it kind of feeds into what I was talking about with the fact that this Denver Nuggets team, their X factor, what sets them apart from OKC in a Game 7 spot is their mentality. They have seen it before. They've been here before. They know that this moment you have to view this moment no bigger than any other moment. And I think OKC will view this as a very big moment because elimination's on the line. And I really do think that OKC The pressure is really on them right now. Now, I'm not saying they can't handle it, but sometimes the team that's got less pressure or, less to play for, but they don't. The Nuggets have the exact same thing to play for, and they care about it the exact same way. But the world expects OKC to win this game. I'm pretty certain that most of the world does not expect the Denver Nuggets to win this game. And we know how well this Denver Nuggets team plays when they don't have the world on their side, when they do feel underestimated. I'm already looking at the lines ahead of Game 7. The Nuggets are 8-point underdogs. In Game 1, I believe they were 11-point underdogs when they won outright. So this Nuggets team thrives in these spots, not just in a Game 7 spot where their playoff experience can shine through, but also in a spot where nobody thinks they're going to do it. Nobody thinks they can. All eyes on OKC. That's what the people want to see, right? OKC going to the Western Conference Finals because people to this point still believe OKC is winning it all. And they could. They definitely have the talent. But I think sometimes in these spots when you're young and you lack experience, and then you've also got all the pressure, all eyes on you, that doesn't always help you. That doesn't always work in your favor. So, that being said, I'm not quite ready yet to give my prediction for Game 7, but I feel very confident in what the Denver Nuggets are capable of, given their mentality, given their talent, and given their playoff experience. Like I've said many, 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 many times, playoff experience typically starts to help a team more as the series progresses. The series can't progress any further than this. It is Game 7. You win or you go home. Denver's a good stinking basketball team. It's that simple, whether you want to accept it or not. They've been thrown some curveballs, and every time they've been thrown one, they have responded well. They've got the momentum right now. Based on this game, Denver has the momentum. You can expect OKC to make adjustments the same way you can expect the Denver Nuggets to make adjustments. You can expect OKC to shoot a little better at home than they did tonight. Of course, you have to expect that. But you can also expect that the Denver Nuggets are going to be prepared to leave it all out in OKC. Everything they've got. And when we've watched this Denver Nuggets team play well, they play really well. They respond well, and they handle pressure well. And I think that's what we're going to see. And what I'm thinking is it's going to trend a lot like Game 3, where in OT, that playoff experience elevated them. And when it was do or die, not really, because the series was able to progress after that, but in overtime, it's a little more pressured than regulation. Overtime, there's a little more pressure. OKC kind of choked in that pressure a little bit. So things will look different. You may not get the Nuggets to the line twice as much as OKC in Game 7. You might not get that. The Nuggets have to go in prepared to play great basketball for 4 quarters. They have to, or it won't happen. They won't win if they don't play great basketball for 4 straight quarters. So how they start this game and how they finish this game will be very telling. They're capable. They're very capable. They have the edge. This will be the most rested that the Denver Nuggets have been in the postseason so far with 2 full days. And I know 2 full days doesn't seem like a lot but when you've got a very broken Michael Porter Jr., we've got Aaron Gordon now that we're a little worried about with his hamstring. He was grabbing onto his leg tonight. You've got Jamal Murray who's under the weather. Those 2 days could make a huge difference. I'm not sure what you're going to get from Michael Porter Jr. since he's been so streaky and inconsistent. Even without injury, he was streaky and inconsistent throughout the regular season. So I'm not sure how reliable he will be. But I do know that he's been in a back against the wall do or die situation before. They've all felt this feeling before. They know how to do it. They just saw it last round. Forget the other seasons that they've seen this. They just saw it last round in a Game 7 spot. And they prevailed. in a big way. So I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling confident in what they're capable of. And I am hoping what we get is a revenge tour by the Denver Nuggets facing the Minnesota Timberwolves next round. I would love nothing more. But it's going to require everybody making plays, even MPJ, who's broken. I don't need you to get 20 plus, especially if you've got Strawther coming off the bench doing what he did tonight. And I think you will get a little more of that from Strawther because his confidence is up. And we know in the regular season, when there was a tumultuous relationship between GM and coach, Strawther wasn't getting valuable minutes. He wasn't being utilized. And yes, he got injured. But I don't think in this spot, if Coach Malone were still the coach, that you'd be getting him in valuable minutes. And when he did get those valuable minutes, he rose to the occasion. Amani, ignore that idiot up there. I'm not even paying him any mind. I'm really not. He's such an idiot. You know, he really is. This is probably his dream job to do what I do, and I have it and he doesn't. And rather than just going out and making himself better and trying it out himself, he's just going to be a coward behind a fake profile and run his mouth, per usual. I would 90% of the time, I would never trade lives with my haters. You understand? No. You don't have anything that I want. So keep on letting those Twitter fingers fly. I promise you I will not lose sleep over you. I rarely do over a troll. Cuz like I said, I wouldn't trade lives with you. Wouldn't. Nope. Would not do that. Perfectly happy with my life. Perfectly happy, very happy actually, and very proud to not only be a Denver Nuggets fan, but to be able to cover this team. So, we have got a Game 7 on Sunday. I asked you guys who you guys thought was showing up big in Game 7. My prediction is going to be you're going to get more out of Aaron Gordon offensively. I feel pretty confident in that. And I do like the idea of CB stepping up in big ways and making big plays. That's what I like. And I'm hoping we also get the same from Julian Strawther again, because what a performance he had. And I'm not sure you win this game without what Strawther was able to give you tonight. So I'll be on the lookout for him. I'm excited to get this Nuggets team with a little extra rest in their bodies. And of course, I thank you guys for hanging with me. We've got over 35,000 of you hanging out. The other night we had 40. So you guys are just continuing to show up. Sunday's game, it looks like, is going to be 1:30 p.m. I believe that's going to be Mountain Time. God, if it was not Mountain Time, I would lose my effing mind. Mountain Time, 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time, which means it's 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, you guys can anticipate a post-game live reaction show following Game 7, as per usual. And if the Nuggets win, you can expect an entire series of more post-game live reaction shows. So I'm Liv Moods, signing off for now. Thank you guys tons and tons and tons for being here, not just tonight, but for all of the post-game shows that we've done all season and also in the postseason this year. I really appreciate you guys. Get some sleep. Go Nuggets. Game 7 on Sunday. We will have a post-game live reaction show following that game, so make sure you guys are tuning in. Make sure you're following Gorilla Sports on all things socials, as well as give us a subscription on YouTube. That's where we post all of our post-game pressers. There's a ton of players that we did not show on this show. You've got Aaron Gordon. I think you've got Nikola Jokic as well. We've got a lot of different guys that we got to hear from, both on the podium as well as in the locker room. So make sure you guys check out our YouTube to see all of those clips. And make sure you guys are joining me following Game 7 on Sunday. I will be there, and we will be doing lots of chit-chatting about the Nuggets, hopefully with smiles on our faces. But if not, we will be celebrating an amazing season. But I feel very confident in this group to get the job done. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Liv Moods, signing off for now. This has been a post-game live reaction show following Game 6, driven by Landmark Lincoln. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you Sunday. And for now, get some sleep, get rest. Hopefully the Nuggets do as well, and we'll catch you Sunday.